In this video, we're nerd stripping. Seriously, stripping minis. Yes, I am sunburnt. So sunburnt. How's it going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to Aquila Painting. My name's Graham and welcome to the channel. Recently I got given a whole horde of miniature stuff from our hobby from all across the ages. Miniatures, books, White Dwarf magazines and a buttload of paints. The hobby hoard came from a chap called Neil who just wanted it all to go to a good home, and I was happy to take it off his hands. There was loads of stuff in there. There was Space Marines, there was some towels, some Dark Eldar, a load of orcs, and also a load of guardsmen as well. Primarily Kasachan jungle fighters. Loads of old plastic minis, loads of old metal minis, a couple of vehicles, loads of stuff. So thank you so much, Neil. Honestly, it is a pleasure, and yeah, thank you very much. The problem was most of it was covered in old paint, but I knew that this stuff was far more valuable on the tabletop rather than basing materials and just stuff in the bits box. And so my venture for the best stripper begins. Paint stripper, guys, come on! Now, I wanted my stripper to do certain things. There's plenty of products out there that you can just drop your minis in overnight, leave them there, and then the next day brush them off and the paint, varnish, whatever's on them just completely slides off. But I am impatient and want them done now! I mean, realistically, some people may only have a few hours in the day to do their hobby, so this would be great for a quick, easy result. So I'm looking for a stripper that'll take off paint efficiently in one hobby sitting. That's non-toxic because I only have a small hobby space and don't want to get high as fuck. And finally, that's easy to use. I've been at work all day. You don't want your hobby time to be hard work. And after a little research, I found this. BioStrip 20. From what I've heard, this stuff is phenomenal. I got mine from Amazon for about £16. From what I've seen and heard, it's very quick acting and it's about as non-toxic as you can get. And as for easy to use, I haven't seen any videos or heard anyone say that this stuff is hard work, so stick around to the end of the video to see how I feel about using it, if I'd use it again, and the pros and cons of this stuff. And while you're here, if you're enjoying the video, guys, so far, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more Aquila Painting content. I do painting videos and videos all about our hobby, and with a little sprinkling of shorts in there as well. So if you are enjoying the video, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Back to the video. I have this idea for a few videos that I need some Space Marines for, so I selected these two chaps to take the plunge. Something about BioStrip that I have been told by a few people in my comments from my Instagram is that the GW bases can turn to mush if left in there for long periods of time. So I submerged the minis upside down up to the base to prevent the mushiness. I wasn't sure how long to leave the boys in there for, so I started off for an hour and 15 minutes while I got on with some other painting. What painting could that be? After that time had elapsed, the cleaning was, interesting. When I took the minis out, they were caked in this stuff. It was really gloopy and swamped the mini. I took an old toothbrush and started scrubbing off the excess stripper. I honestly don't know what I was kind of expecting, but I thought it would be like soap. It wasn't. The BioStrip was taking off the paint, but it almost got thicker and had this stringy consistency that was gumming up my brush as well as the mini. As I said, the paint was coming off and you could tell the BioStrip already was having a massive impact on the paint. I could see that one of these minis was actually painted green underneath the existing paint that you could see. And the BioStrip was going through both sets of paint, primer, all the way down to the bare plastic. Now remember, these minis have only been in there for about an hour and 15 minutes. That's super quick. Way quicker than I was expecting. I don't know if these models were put together with super glue or plastic glue, but the paint stripper seems to really loosen up the bonds on the arms, the backpack, the gun, etc. Which I was fine with because it made it easier to get in those nooks and crannies of the mini. I took a tub of some room temperature water and tried to scrubbing off the rest of the gunk. While it had started to come off, the water didn't really seem to have much impact. I don't know if this grim mix of stripper and old paint had some water resistant properties, but it seemed to have no difference between scrubbing it out of the water as well as in the water. So after a lot of scrubbing, I managed to get the majority of the paint off. I was really impressed with how well this biostrip worked in just a little over an hour. There was a few small spots where there was a little paint still left in the deepest recesses, but all over pretty impressive with how little time they were in the actual biostrip for. As I said, there were a few bits with the paint still on, like the bolter, that I had cleaned off a little earlier and put to one side. I think the paint may have hardened over that time, so I decided this would be a good opportunity to put all the bits back in the biostrip. Keeping in mind that this stuff had already been in for an hour, I thought I would double that amount of time for a little over 2 hours to see how clean I could get them in this short amount of time. I mean, you could be getting on with some other hobby while these guys are stripping and still have them completely free of paint at the end of the night, which is one of my goals for this little experiment. This time I switched out the water for hot water. I can only assume that the heat loosened up the stuff that now could only be called Nurgle's rot in a tub. It was a lot easier to get off, but still had that really stringy consistency. The last bath in Biostrip was so worth it. These guys were almost perfectly clean now. There was a minimal amount of paint in spots, so I took a cocktail stick and just scraped those bits away as best I could. But if I'm honest, I couldn't be bothered to do this across the whole mini. But you can if you want. Just take a cocktail stick, scrape away at the bits where the thicker paint is, and it will come off. It depends how patient you are. I'm not very patient. And as a bonus, because of the glue Neil used putting these together, the paint stripper deep bonded it, I could now pose these miniatures the way I wanted to. I did pose them as close to the original pose that they were because I quite liked them already. If you've got a load of second-hand Warhammer that's already painted you want to strip, or you're buying them off eBay, I thought this was a really good point to then make those minis yours. A little bit of customization. So the 3 points that I was looking at in this video for this product is a paint stripper that would take paint off in one session. You don't have to leave it overnight to be effective. That it's non-toxic, so you don't have to have a window open or full ventilation to be able to use this stuff. And that is easy to use. Out of the 3, I think I got about 2.5. It's definitely non-toxic. I wouldn't eat it though. Do not eat this stuff. It is paint stripper in the end. It works really fast. You've seen the results that I got in just over 2 hours. So that's definitely 2. Is it easy to use? Yes and no. It takes some work to get the paint stripper off. But keeping in mind how well it works and how quick it works, I definitely think that is something I can forgive, keeping that in mind. I would definitely use this product again. I haven't used many paint strippers across my life, never mind about my hobby. But this is hitting all the things that I needed to do, apart from the stringy glue bead Nurgle mess that it created. But I will take that on the chin because of the other points it works really well. And after 2 baths in the bio strip, this is how they came out. So when I use this stuff again in the future, there's a few things I would definitely do differently. I would definitely scrub the models in a large sink. Not your partner's or your parents' best porcelain, please don't get me in trouble. I think it'll be a lot easier to get this stuff off with a little bit more room and a little bit more water. And talking about water too, having that hot water straight from the off. It definitely works better than room temperature. And finally 3, I think I would use a larger and stiffer plastic bristled brush. Using that in the first steps, I think it would speed up the process a lot more, and also it wouldn't damage the miniature as well because you're still using plastic bristles. And after that, going back in with the old toothbrush just to get in those nooks and crannies. That way you're speeding up the process, but also you're not getting your old toothbrush clogged up with Nurgle's ick. So that is it for another video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you're still here, guys, make sure you like and subscribe for more content at Aquila Painting. I also have a Patreon if you really want to help the channel out. It helps me get the bits and bobs, paints, brushes for the channel that I need to make these videos. Thank you to all my existing patrons. You guys are awesome. And a massive peace to you guys. And what do you think of this video? Have you used Biostrip before, or do you have another method that you prefer? Let me know in the comments. But until next time, it's been messy, it's been emotional. Until the next video, see you again. Peace!